greetings. Welcome to What Packaging. Delighted to have Nilesh Pinto. Thank you, Nilesh, for doing this.
Thank you, Ramu.
We call this series a masterclass. The idea is, of course, all this knowledge that you have, the repository, etc. Obviously, you share it with your team, your customers, your partners. The idea is through this channel, we hope to make sure that a larger universe has access to your brain power and, of course, the tricks that you have learned over the years. So for our viewers, a couple of things. Nilesh has been a part of the flexible packaging industry for almost 2.5 decades, almost 22 years with Bobst, overseeing the entire flexible packaging portfolio. And that's a massive, he's a boy from Igatpuri. And interesting trivia for you is that if you want to charm Nilesh, you have to gift him Pink Floyd's and maybe a ticket to probably a good rock concert in probably Wembley Stadium or something.
Anything with the 80s.
Anything from the 80s, yeah. So I'm also very delighted to have this conversation at the Competence Center, and it's wonderful to see have the Vision CI here, the Nova Lamb there, etc. So we'll deep dive into flexible packaging, which is you've been part of the industry for almost 2.5 decades. You've seen the sort of transition, the shifts, etc. You've seen it very closely in Europe and even more closely in India. Just quickly want to know from you, what are the two or three things you see India doing well over the last few years, especially post COVID, because certain things we have got better at.
I mean, if I have to relate it to COVID, right? One thing we saw in COVID, that loose packaging, right, was at it at its all-time low, right? And we saw a huge move from loose packaging to packaged goods,
Yeah,
right? So today, if you see, that move has created a big market for uh, sugar.
yeah,
Yeah, you seldom now see sugar being sold loose, at least in the urban areas, right? You see oil also all in packaged goods. So the volumes in that time went all time high, right? I mean, not a very proud thing to say, but during COVID, we had an all time peak in business too, right? So it was a bad time for the world, right? But being essentials and all,
right.
people were producing,
And
and
somehow packaging seemed to be one of the few industries which stood by the rest of the planet. I mean, that is
absolutely,
something we should take pride on, and we did serve humanity to a large extent,
extent
right? Yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
And if you see, all the shelves were
yeah.
almost empty, right,
Correct.
in the first part of it. And
Yeah.
when the equipment started coming in, rolling out more and more production, right, you saw a lot of that. The
Yes.
second thing we saw in COVID, which
Yeah.
is Ramu, which was part of the prequel we had earlier,
Sure.
we saw that lot of the people who work on these machines,
Sure.
right, who come from different small towns and all, because working with solvent and
Yeah.
other kind of things, they started. There was a mass exodus,
Yeah.
right? And when there was an exodus, you had fewer people to work with.
Mm.
Automation played a very critical
Yeah.
role,
Yeah.
right? I can say the same thing in 2007, 8 or something like that, when a particular packaging moved
Mm.
from polyester, metallized polyester, poly,
Mm.
to paper, aluminum. You know what I'm referring to,
Sure.
right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
So at that time,
Yeah.
the customers who had machines like from us and were
Yes.
running 40 GSM paper, right?
Mm.
They made money through the roof,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because running 40 GSM paper without snapping
Yeah.
and getting
Yeah.
that ink properly onto the machine and drying and everything was not something that many equipments could do,
Sure.
right? So we
Sure.
know customers who have even recovered their cost in one day, because if your packaging goes from 200 to
Mm.
700 rupees a kilo,
Right.
right, it makes a big difference.
Sure.
So so in COVID, we saw the that many people realize the importance of having a machine with a lot of
Yeah.
automation in it.
Smarter
Yeah,
machines. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. Makes sense.
The other thing we saw is that, and we are seeing it now also, right?
Sure.
You see UP growing in a big way. Most of our employees who work on these machines come from UP, come from Bihar, right? And with UP growing, what do you expect? You definitely expect these people going back to where they came from, right? Exactly. And now people are again finding it tough to get people. So what happens in India is labor is in plenty. So people are not looking long term, right? But when you start realizing, and the guys who are realizing it now are investing in better equipments that can deliver more, right? In terms of throughput, in terms of man hour per kilo, right? In terms of square foot per kilo. Why I'm referring to per square foot per kilo is, see, the cost of land today,
Yeah.
right?
True.
And with the way we are growing on flexible packaging, if you are a company with a proper conviction, no, to do the right things, almost 2, 3, 4 years you're in back in expansion. So the land you bought few years ago thinking it was wow, such a big shed, suddenly is chock a block,
Yeah, you have
right?
run out of space. Yeah.
Yeah, and then that's when you realize I mean I need, and if anybody tells you, that I buy an equipment for 3 years or 5 years, right, and then I'll throw it out, it never
Correct.
happens,
That's true.
right? So if you buy a machine and you have to live with problems, you have to live with them for the
Lifetime.
life of that machine,
That's true.
right? So these are the changes that we notice.
Yep. Nilesh, I mean, there are a couple of things. One is, of course, you're also keen watcher of the macro data in the industry. I mean, what is happening and trends and so on, because obviously everything is correlated in this world. So again, just curious to know from you, what are the big trends that you're seeing, in terms of CAGR? Because we, look at these very fancy reports and the numbers they suggest almost seem to be staggering, uh, double digit, those kind of things. So just curious to know, number one is how seriously should we take these CAGR numbers, especially the top line numbers? And because almost everybody just, uses this as a kind of a magic mantra, packaging mein paise dal do, without really giving, due diligence to all the other stuff which is required, the science behind it, the logic, the common sense, and as you mentioned, how do you space manage, things like that. So two questions. One is, what are the big numbers saying, and how much should an investor err on the side of caution when he looks at these big numbers?
Okay, I mean, from the time I've been in this industry,
Right.
I mean, if I go way back to 99,
Sure.
I've seen this industry grow very, very steadily
Right.
at anywhere from around 10 to 12%,
Right.
right? Not to mention, Ramu, we have a parallel market also, right?
Of
I mean,
course. Yeah.
everybody
Yeah.
knows about.
Right.
So, on a growth of 10 to 12% year on year is probably one of the best industries to be in, right? You're right. Then there are a lot of people who have invested, right, and and the small companies and small families, investing money in it has created a lot of competition, because there is a company who thinks about EBITDA, and there is another company who thinks if I get 3 rupees, 5 rupees per kilo, I'm very happy, right? Because he's not thinking about plowing the money back, right, and putting it back into reinvestments in a long way, right? So there are companies who actually bring down the margins, right? And in our industry, it's a tight business, very tight business. But on a average, the growth is anywhere between 10 to 12. So that's a good part of it, that if you put your money, your business is growing. Now, the margins all depends on the entrepreneur's creativity, right? How well he manages his procurement, how well he manages his uh, throughputs,
Sure.
his efficiency, his
Hmm.
right, his utilization.
Sure.
I mean, these are the factors that are key. And
Yeah.
if you see this correlation between the film industry
Hmm.
and the converters, right? The
Yes.
film guys always buy equipments, right, which give them top volume, right? They don't believe in a second as such, right? Because in the end, one day it would come to commodity, and when it comes to commodity, then you need to be as efficient as possible, right? So preparing in line with that, they want the machines to produce the most at the lowest cost, right? Converters are now slowly understanding that better to have equipments on that front also. Yeah.
Again, because again you deal with so many people, and we look at this word called customers or whatever you want to call them, and for us from the outside it is an homogeneous entity, but obviously it's not. There's much more complicated than. So there are obviously the big giants, the MNCs who are operating in India. They have a particular approach. Then you have the Indian brands, Indian packaging solution providers, I like to call them. They obviously have a different strategy. They are the legacy organizations, and you see some of them making giant strides. Then there are the, as you say, the family owned classical business module, where now today probably the second generation, third generation are entering, and you can see a shift. And then fourth, which you're mentioning, the disruptors or the new entrants who are pumping in money. So you have an ecosystem which is occupied by a very, very, diverse set of players. And unlike probably, the more evolved markets where you may have a few players, here you have multiple players. So in that sort of chaos, again, what I want to understand is that, you know, two questions again. What are you telling people when you're having conversations with them in what to invest, how to invest, and where to invest? Because I'm sure this is what they broadly come to you for. Uh, how does a new project fit in this sort of madness in a way? Yeah.
If we see, Bobst in flexible packaging, I mean, what are the segments we are in? We are in metallizing, we are in coating, right? We are in printing, we are in lamination, right? and labels as another segment also. Now, if you, the with this sustainability front, right, we see a lot of thrust on coating and metallizing, because if you want to go thinner, if you want to go with lesser layers, right, if you want to go with materials which are, monofamily, then that that particular film doesn't have all the attributes which another film joined
Would
together
have,
would
yeah,
would
makes
give it,
sense,
right?
yeah.
So then here comes coating, here comes metallizing,
Right.
right? And this is one place where there's a lot of development happening.
Sure.
And in a big country, one day, if the sustainability push, which came to a sudden peak few years ago,
Correct.
and then again went down,
Yeah, tapered
right,
off, yeah.
tapered off.
Yeah.
But now recently there was a ruling,
Yeah.
right? I mean, not a ruling, but a discussion about moving a particular material
Correct.
from paper foil
Yeah, yeah.
to anything that is
Biodegradable but paper.
non-polymer,
Yeah, correct.
non-metallized,
Right.
and without aluminum.
Right. So bio-based paper broadly, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, anything that is nothing to do with these three
Right.
products. So
Fair
polymer,
enough.
metallizing,
Right.
and aluminum.
Got it.
So if you could avoid these three things,
Right.
right, you're good to go.
Sure. Sure.
And when you start thinking what options you have,
Yeah.
you could have paper,
Yeah.
you could have some biodegradable films,
Right.
right, bioplastics,
Yes.
right, but without coating,
Hmm.
right, without mixing and matching of some things,
Hmm.
right, it's going to be difficult to
Sure.
achieve that application,
Correct.
right?
Correct.
But if we succeed, because if we are driven by this and we succeed to come out with something, believe me, that opens doors for
It's a
many other
big disruptor.
applications,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
and then a change
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
industry, right?
Makes
I mean,
sense. Makes
it's
sense.
like a turning point from
Right.
there.
So that would be one thing. Also, you're seeing smaller, more nimble, compact factories. Is there evidence to, because we've been picking up some conversations about that, that not all the factories are these giant size
Yeah,
factories, churning out and playing the volume game.
yeah.
But you also have more compact type. We sort of visited two factories in Rajkot,
Okay.
where we found some very interesting sort of ways in which the process is handled, the
Right.
size of the factory, and also the manner in which it was sort of created.
Right.
And what impressed us most was it was up and running from day one.
Okay.
Which again, as you know, there used to always be this work in progress period, and then
Yeah.
factories would get into action. But that was something that was kind of interesting for us, that these new centers where you're finding some kind of a creation of factories which are very interesting in this sense. Yeah,
Mhm.
smart, compact.
Yeah.
Playing with smaller machine sizes, and being able to turn around jobs far quicker than the traditional methods.
True. I mean, you're typically talking of owner-driven
Correct,
companies,
correct, correct. Yeah,
single-handedly
yeah.
managed, and
Or
all that.
backward integration by a player who's either in FMCG or
Yeah.
food or somebody like that. Yeah.
Okay.
Hmm.
So, see, there are the large companies who have literally system-driven organizations with all
Correct.
the certifications and all,
Right.
right? If you see some of the big brand owners,
Yeah.
they prefer to work with them because they
of
follow the
course.
system thoroughly,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And they want BRC, they want the ISOs and all
Sure.
the SSAIs
Hmm.
certifications and all
Right.
in place, right?
Right.
They want flooring and the machines and all to be in a certain way,
Yeah.
right?
The
And
factory
employees,
should look something like this. Yeah.
exactly,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
in the employees should be managed in a very
Properly. Yeah.
human way,
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
that kind of
Yeah.
things, right? So there are those kind of organizations.
Sure.
And there is a cost to it, no doubt, Ramu.
Of course. Yeah.
But if you look at the volumes that those organizations take out, then the cost becomes quite small,
You're right.
right? So while as a smaller company, if he has to follow all that,
Hmm.
right, it becomes very difficult for him.
Sure. Sure.
And the thing that the small company can do
Hmm.
is, with brand owners, he can give a one-on-one service,
Yeah.
right? If
Yeah.
anything goes wrong with the brand owners, he can just stand there and get it done.
Correct.
Some brand owners like to have that attention,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? And some brand owners prefer that we want an absolute professional way
Right.
of organization,
Hmm.
right? So, and both will coexist in a market that's growing 10 to 12%, Ramu, as I
Correct,
said. And if you
correct.
have the conviction,
Correct.
right,
Correct.
there's no way you can go wrong.
Correct.
Right.
Understood. Yeah. Nilesh, before this conversation, I had the fortune with one of your colleagues to take a small sort of tour of, and there are two or three things that I picked up. One is, the advancements, things like prime and fiber cycles, smart gravure, GPS, etc.
Yeah.
You alluded to sustainability just a short while ago.
Right.
My question really is, of course, so there are these processes, there are these technologies, and obviously there is this huge sustainability drive from the top, and of course, with
True.
the government of India doing what it is going to do. I want to know how all this correlates to sustainability. I mean, how can we manage waste?
Yeah.
How can we boost, improve circularity? And third is basically with materials, what can we do?
Okay.
Yeah.
So if I first have to define to you, right,
Right.
something on barrier,
Right.
right, because if we categorize all the laminates that are used in the market,
Sure.
so first you have materials that don't require packaging with high barrier.
Okay.
I mean, they don't require just standard barrier like polyester, poly with standard barrier.
Right.
It's good enough, right?
Right.
You see it in salt, you see it in atta, and all that
Right.
kind of thing. The
Right.
barrier
Right.
levels
Right.
are pretty medium,
Okay.
right? Then after that, you have the high barrier,
Sure.
right? And then the next level is the ultra high barrier. Now, if I have to
Correct.
put this in numbers to you,
Hmm.
right, which will be very interesting,
Sure.
the ultra high barriers are normally where the MVTR, that's the moisture and vapor
Yeah.
transmission rate,
Right.
right, is less than 0.1.
Okay.
Similarly, the oxygen transmission rate
Hmm.
is also less than 0.1,
Okay.
right? So mainly this segment was and is almost dominated by aluminum foil,
Correct.
right? Because without aluminum foil, achieving this level of 0.1,
Hmm.
right, is difficult
Sure.
unless we go to what I explained to you in the second line.
Right.
The second is less than 1 barrier. So we see all these chips, for example, the wafers and all these kind of things.
Yep. Yep.
They are less than 1 MVTR OTR,
Okay.
right? So what we define as 1 MVTR OTR, less than 1, is
Hmm.
called high barrier.
Okay.
What we define as less than 0.1 is
Hmm.
called ultra high barrier,
Sure.
right? What we as Bobst are trying to work
Hmm.
on is to develop laminates
Hmm.
which are going to be monofamily.
Okay.
So it's going to be BOPP, it will be poly,
Hmm.
right? It could be a single layer of poly,
Sure.
right? And what we are trying to put to develop these films, and even paper, sorry, I
Sure.
missed out paper,
Right.
paper also, right? To come to the levels of 1 and 0.1, depending on what the customer, because the cost goes up,
Understood.
the
Understood.
level of processes increase,
Right.
right? But the cost goes up. It's like, it's like give and take. Right?
Sure.
One side you're delayering, you're removing
Hmm.
aluminum foil,
Hmm.
right? So indirectly, your costs are either equal or they are lesser.
Yeah.
Because if you remove aluminum foil, it's quite a substantial cost.
Correct.
If you're removing 3 layers and making it 2 layers,
Hmm.
right? You're removing one process and one film, right? So
Nice.
on these grounds is what Bobst is working on
Nice.
to achieve the high barrier,
Hmm.
right? And deliver to the market a laminate which is recyclable.
Sure.
So if to take it to a next step, like the C regulation,
Hmm.
right? So if you see the C regulation, they state that 90%
Hmm.
of the material
Hmm.
needs to be of a single family
Correct.
to be recyclable,
Correct.
right? The rest 10% could be impurities in terms of impurities or additives in terms of adhesive,
Hmm.
inks, master batches,
Sure.
etc., etc.,
Sure.
right? And we have already achieved those levels,
Nice.
right? The point comes now is in a market like India where
Hmm.
price is very critical,
Right.
right? I'm not India, I'm sure even many other Western countries
Yeah.
and all where
Nation
price
states.
is
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
critical,
Yeah.
right? To adopt this is going to be difficult unless it comes up from a regulation point of view,
Hmm. Hmm.
right? But we
Hmm.
know we have worked with certain companies in India,
Right.
and we have already done this exercise with them. So
Okay.
they are out there, they are ready. There are some packaging
Hmm.
which are already available on the
Shelf. Yeah.
shelf, yeah, because some of the brand owners
Hmm.
to complete their obligation are
Correct.
using this type of films also.
Nice. Nice.
Right, we heard of MDOP, right?
Right.
A sudden spurt of MDOP investments,
Correct.
right, which was also part of this sustainability because MDOP is very close to polyester.
Sure.
So much so, Ramu, very interestingly, if you've seen polyester,
Hmm.
right, and you take MDOP,
Yeah.
polyester, if you close your eyes and start crunching, right,
Hmm.
it makes a noise and it's crunchy, right?
Correct.
You try to do that with MDOP, it's very difficult to make out the difference,
Understood.
right? So
Understood.
it's almost gives you all the strength and stability of polyester, but without the
Hmm.
barrier,
Nice.
right?
Nice.
And then when it comes to barrier, and then we go to
Hmm.
equipments in terms of coating, metallizing,
Sure,
and all
sure,
that.
sure.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
If for the benefit of our viewers, because I mean, MDOP being a broadly a new family, a new structure, what it is and what is normally the properties of MDOP. I think you have a sample of that there, or no?
No,
No, you don't have
no,
MDOP.
no,
Sorry,
yeah,
apologies for that. Yeah,
no.
yeah.
But
But what is MDOP? Sorry, yeah.
so yeah, see, normally polyethylene is blown,
Correct.
right? So it's blown on a blown film machine,
Right.
right? With MDOP, what we do is in the machine direction, we
Hmm.
orient the film,
Nice.
right, before it goes into the winding.
Hmm.
So orienting the film gives it a certain level of strength in that
Nice.
direction,
Right.
right?
Right.
So it's similar to what we do in BOPP. We biaxially orient it,
Correct.
right?
Correct.
And then it gets a
Yeah.
certain strength, or
Yeah.
BOPET,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It's something similar.
BOPET, yeah, okay, yeah.
And here you're playing with the resin also,
Nice.
right? And it's an in the end it's polyethylene.
Got it.
So now you have a material which has this with the mechanical strength of polyester,
Nice.
right? Minus the barrier,
Got it.
right? And then you, if you just say for a substrate which, sorry, a product that does not require high barrier,
Right.
you take this material, you print it, you laminate it with
Yeah.
poly, and just this. So you have an all poly laminate,
Right,
right?
right.
Which is meeting the criteria of
Correct,
monofamily.
correct. And printability and on those accounts, absolutely. Yeah,
Is
it's okay.
absolutely the same.
Right. And again, biaxially for MDOP also or no?
No, MDOP is machine direction.
Machine
Yeah.
direction, understood.
We see a new material also coming in
Right.
called biaxially oriented polyethylene.
Nice.
And India is investing big time
Sure.
in that. So we have something called hybrid machines.
Correct.
So many of our film producers, right, have already invested in this technology,
Right, right.
And we do see occasionally films from here and there, but mainly on trial basis. We have
Understood.
not seen it on actual production basis happening,
Right, right.
But once, see, MDOP has been an old technology. It's
Correct.
not a new technology.
Correct.
Right? It's been like more than 15, 20 years old, whatever.
Yeah, but it didn't get the kind of traction that it and the commercial rollout, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that the case?
It actually picked up because of sustainability.
Correct.
Right? Because when they went into sustainability and they studied it, they found a material now here
Yep,
which is close
yep,
to polyester.
Yeah. So
But-
just to understand, it will be commercially available in India with players like Cosmo and Jindal and some of these players.
BOP we talking?
I don't know, MDOP.
MDOP mainly is a blown film line, right? So we do have many, like TCPL is there, right? You have Amcor, you have Hutamaki and Balaji and these kind of companies who are invested. Right? BOP, I mean, you have many of the film guys who have their BOPP line also capable of churning out BOP, right? So BOP is going to be very similar, but it's a newer technology, and the resin will take a little longer to go through the learning cycle, right? But once it comes up, because these are all big guys, right? So they will work double time in order to deliver this product, and then the economies of scale, because one MDOP line will give you a small 300 400 tons per month, right?
As
While
opposed
this
to,
will give you
yeah,
like
yeah.
a couple of thousand tons
Yeah, makes sense.
per month.
Yeah, makes
Yeah.
sense. Yeah. Just when you say Bobst is working on it, I just want to understand when you say Bobst is working on a technology or a science, what do you mean? Is it like the think tank sits where, number one? And how quickly does the information you share, the India team shares, goes to them, and how quickly can they turn it around? I ask again because
Yeah.
obviously people are coming up with ideas about applications, sustainability, things like that.
Right.
So who are the think tank? Where are the brains of the organization and who are working on all these concept level ideas in flexible packaging? And secondly, how quickly is the sort of knowledge transfer there? Yeah.
So if we have to talk about the film guys, right? So the film guys are already like little while ago I mentioned to you, Ramu, that the Indian companies are equal, if not better than many companies outside. Yeah. So the film we are exporting all over the world. We have film multinational companies who have got presence all over the world, right? And they are all doing phenomenally well. I mean, if we leave a few years, but if you see the balance sheets on quarter to quarter, they always showed, quarter to quarter they always showed good profit. But now sometimes it goes down, right? So the thing is that, but what it's not one company that can do something. It's the machine manufacturer, right? The orientation, the extrusion orientation company that supplies the equipment, right? It is we as the metallizing front, we as the coating front, right? And then the converting, that is the printing, lamination, because you have to see it, the film go right from one end of the chain to the other end and then measure the barrier.
Sure.
Because there's no point in having the barrier on that end and it comes on the other end.
Correct.
Like, given an example of ALOX, aluminum oxide
Yeah,
coating, and we are very strong in that segment also, ALOX.
Yep.
Right? Now, ALOX is like a ceramic, right? It's very hard, very brittle.
True.
And when you coat it in very, very thin. The coating is very thin.
Okay.
Right? It's done in a metallizing process.
Correct.
If you take that film and print it, it's dead because it's brittle.
Yeah.
So you need a top coat, right, to protect the film. And then if you add the top coat with a barrier, right? So you have a top coat just for protection, and then you have protection come barrier coat, and then you increase the barrier very high, right? So, and then that can go close to aluminum as such. We are seeing a lot of movement on paper also in that front. So we are working with a lot of the paper mills, right? So in India also, yes. So in fact, today in BSG, that is San Giorgio, for Bobst and Bobst Manchester, paper is quite I mean, it's on drive. Yeah, yeah. So paper is moving very fast, along with polyethylene. Because if I had to go back like 10 years, 15 years ago, it was polyester, right? Then it came to BOPP, right? Then it came to polyethylene. Now we're seeing a lot of push on paper, right? But polyethylene is still hanging around, and so is BOPP, right? So mainly the drive today is paper, BOPP, polyethylene, because of the single family system.
And you see a trickle down of the same sort of pyramid in the Indian scenario, or we're
Yes.
still taking time to
No, no,
catch up?
it is coming because, see,
Sure.
again, it's not going to be for the Indian market alone,
Correct. Some of
because
them are exporting big
they are
time. Yeah.
exporting, yeah.
Yeah.
And if
Yeah.
they see a market,
Sure.
or customers who want to buy, they will
Mm.
definitely invest. I
Sure.
see, a lot of companies who are putting inquiries to us,
Yeah.
trying to understand where we can achieve, what investments are involved,
Sure.
right? So there are people talking of it.
Right.
It's only a matter of a trigger, and
Right.
then this, because we, in the last 3 years or so, we've already sold quite a few coating machines,
Of course.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was
Right.
a segment where we didn't have much of
Yep.
business.
Yep.
But today in India, coating is quite serious for
Yep.
us,
True. True.
right?
Yeah. Yeah, in fact, again, our data seems to suggest that that is sort of the high growth industry, and of course, a high priority
Yeah,
industry also. Yeah,
absolutely.
we'll sort of move on, Nilesh,
Yeah.
because I mean, there are lots of things we need to pick your brains on. So, again, from our limited understanding, when we look at other markets, etc., this generally speaking, Flexo driven.
Mhm.
India still traditionally very strong in the gravure and
Right.
historical reasons. And again, the idea to ask this is not make this one of those, battles of Kurukshetra, Gravure versus Flexo,
Mhm.
but just to broadly understand, a couple of things from you. What are the kind of conversations you're picking up?
Mhm.
Again, coming back to that first question, where to put your money
Yeah.
in the Indian context? Because should you just go along with the Gravure thing, or be the kind of disruptor that some of the players were 10, 15 years ago and enter in, with the CI Flexo?
Yeah.
And the second thing is, again, what are the larger conversations you're picking up? Brands, especially the multinational brands
Yeah.
who traditionally work with Flexo mainly, and then suddenly in India they're having a little bit of a issue because they need to. But two questions. One is, what are the trends you're picking up in terms of
Yeah.
Gravure and Flexo usage? And secondly, is there a shift on ground in terms of adoption of these technologies? Yeah.
Um, I mean, from my side,
Yeah.
Ramu, from Bob's side,
Correct.
we sell both technologies. We sell
Correct.
Gravure
Correct.
and Flexo.
Yeah.
Both have their pros and
Of
cons,
course.
right?
Of course.
Absolutely. Both have. If you understand the technologies well,
Correct.
it's very easy for you to decide where you want to be,
Sure.
right?
Sure.
So it could be application driven, it could be film driven,
Yep. Yeah.
right? It could be something like commercial,
Yep.
right? Um, there are various reasons why would you want to go to Flexo or you would want to go to Gravure,
Correct.
right? Because the length of the run or whatever, right? But if I have to come today, 80% plus is Gravure.
Correct.
20%
In India,
is
you're
in
saying.
India.
In
Yeah.
India.
If I go to America, it's
Of
almost
course.
90-10.
90-10. Yeah.
In South America, it's almost
Yep.
all
Yep.
Flexo,
Even
right?
Southeast
Australia,
Asia, the numbers are pretty staggering, no? Right?
no,
Not
Flexo
really.
still not.
Not
Still,
dominant.
if,
Yeah.
if you
Yeah.
see Gravure,
Yeah.
Africa, Middle East,
Yeah.
India, Southeast Asia, China is
Majority
still
is
majority
okay.
Gravure, right?
Yeah.
You could also say that because there's less local manufacturing also on Flexo, right?
That's true.
And Flexo is not very easy as a machine compared to Gravure.
Because of what? Dot gains.
Yeah, there are more variables as
Yeah.
such,
Of course. Yeah.
right? And as a machine, it's more complicated to build,
Okay.
right? If I have to give you an example, there are, I may be wrong on this, but there are almost 7 motors to every station,
Good
and you
lord.
have 7 into 8, 56 motors. On a Gravure, on every station, you have 2 motors, right? 56 motors to manage at an accuracy level of 1 micron, right? You have a hair strand which is 80 micron, right? You have to move this dot 1 micron forward, 1 micron forward or backward, with a single movement of your the device you have in your hand. So Flexo is critical, right? What we have done is, with Flexo, we have come up with a concept called GPS, graphic positioning system, smart GPS, right? And with this technology, we have tried to eliminate a lot of human intervention, where the operator just goes and presses the button, stands behind, and the machine goes and register an impression on the first print, which is really difficult to believe, right? And we demonstrate this, if anybody is coming to the open house on the 9th and 10th of September.
Yeah.
He's welcome to see this,
Right.
right?
Right.
Why
You
do I
have
go
two
far?
samples. Yeah. Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is the wastage,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
That, and why I'm saying this is a wastage, because the web has to travel a
Yeah.
path, right?
Yeah, you can open this up
No,
so
it's
that
it's very long. It's
okay.
about 12 to 15 meters.
Meters, yeah, which
Yeah.
is great, I
Yeah,
think.
but
No, I mean
just
that's
for a
reduce,
for a converter, he
yeah,
will understand. You know
sure,
what I
sure,
mean. This is
sure,
nothing,
sure, yeah,
right?
yeah. So this is yeah, yeah,
So 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 that's a technology that we launched on GPS. If I have to come to see, there are two ways ideally. You
sure,
can define a Gravure versus Flexo in terms of even short runs or long
yeah,
runs or
yeah,
something. One, in Gravure, sorry, in term of a job,
yeah.
right? You could have a job with special colors. So
Okay.
that's a standard job, which
Hmm.
everybody in India or elsewhere is doing. Standard job with, you know, a Haldiram red or some color,
Yeah,
you know, Coke red or
yeah.
a Pepsi
So
blue and all that.
four process colors and a
Four
couple of special.
special
Yeah,
colors and
yeah.
white and all. So
Understood.
you
Yeah.
have around 7, 8 colors all the time, and you have
Correct.
to keep
Correct.
changing 3, 4 colors all the time.
Right.
You have the second kind of printing, which is called extended color gamut,
Correct.
right? Now in Gravure, we've launched something called one ECG,
Okay.
right? And this was the first in the world
Hmm.
by us,
Hmm.
right? And it was given a golden cylinder award also,
Yes.
right? And the idea was that you can print
The
every
extended
job,
gamut with the process color.
uh,
With
y-
process, I mean, yeah,
yeah,
color
with 7
gamut.
colors.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
basically,
okay.
CMYK with orange, green, and violet,
OGV. Yeah.
right? And all you do is just take the cylinder out, you
Hmm.
put the new cylinder, and you start printing,
Nice.
right? And this is not something that's on the drawing board. It's
Hmm.
already out with customers and some
Hmm.
really big companies who have
Sure.
given their testimonies also, right? So these guys are using this technology. We have customer with a repeat order also on this.
Right.
If you ever happen to visit San Giorgio,
Okay.
we demonstrate this in front of the customer,
Nice.
right? So
Nice.
it's not something that's on the drawing board.
Hmm.
We are inviting customers to have a look, because you can imagine the saving.
Hmm.
If you have so many special colors, you
Yeah.
could have a whole storeroom full of colors and
Recipes
colors and
and yeah,
colors,
yeah, yeah.
right? Whereas if you have just 7 colors, it's not only
Hmm.
about 7 colors. It's not
Hmm.
about washing also. No
Yes.
washing,
Yeah.
no solvent required for washing, right? You just
Hmm.
take the cylinder,
Yeah.
again you're back
Yeah.
in print.
As they say, no tamjam. Hmm.
Exactly.
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
mean, it
Nice.
reduces everything, your
Yep.
cost, your
Yep. Yeah.
this.
And what
Now,
happens to my color gamut and those kind of things, densities and those sort of things? Am
so
I hitting my
oh
color
yes,
targets? Yeah.
so this
Hmm.
is something, again, we
Yeah.
did a study with Pantone.
Okay.
We did our own study, I think with
Sure.
ESCO or somebody. So we
Right.
reached 95% on our own, and
Nice.
92.5% of the Pantone shade. So the whole book we can cover
Correct.
92.5% of
Got
the
it.
Pantone shade, right? So we demonstrated this during Drupa also, and
Okay.
we kept the sample over
Sure.
there to
Hmm.
show customers
Hmm. Hmm. Do
that,
you have an ECG sample there?
oh yes,
Yeah. Yeah.
on the Gravure.
Yeah.
Thanks,
That
Ramu.
will help. Yeah.
So now this, if you see
There.
the number of colors here,
Yeah.
it's the same job, for example.
Mm. Oh, you've shown both for
Yeah.
us. Yeah, nice.
You can
Yeah.
even print, like if you have many small run jobs, right? So you
Right.
can print different jobs
Right.
with the same cylinders,
Hmm.
right?
Nice. Nice.
So, and these are all printed in 7 colors,
Yep. Yep.
right? So,
And when you say small run, what do you mean, Nilesh? Because
so
this again, I keep hearing different definitions of small run
yeah,
across the
on an
country.
average in India, most people would say, you know, a 5,000 meter would be a small
Fair
run,
enough. Okay.
right?
Fair enough.
I
Yeah.
know some customers who even
Hmm.
run a 1 kilometer job,
Yeah.
which is like actually
Mind
suicidal, huh?
boggling. Mind
Yeah.
boggling. Yeah. Yeah.
Because when you have multiple jobs,
Correct.
right? Like just to give you an example, you have tea bags,
Yeah.
right? And then there could be green tea and black tea, which is a running job.
Hmm.
And then you could have a berry tea or
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
which hardly goes. So the
Yeah.
volume is,
Yeah.
but you cannot say no to the brand owner that I'm not going to do this, I'm going to do this,
Right.
right?
Makes sense. Yeah.
So in that case, you have to do the small one and you have to do the long one. They
Correct.
come and
Correct.
come as
Correct.
a package.
Right.
But
Makes
with
sense.
one ECG, the beauty is you can do
Yeah.
short
Yeah.
runs also.
Sure. And how
Yeah.
does it get integrated? Just for my understanding, what is it? It's something that you bundle with your whatever ESCO suite or something, and then I feed the parameters and the machine, and this they're talking to each other.
Yeah, I
Is
mean,
that how it works? Sorry.
yeah, the workflow is in what we have. This is called smart Gravure,
Okay.
right? And somebody sitting in an office
Okay.
has already preloaded all the jobs,
Correct.
right? Through the cloud, the job goes in,
Okay.
right? And the operator just has to take out the cylinder, put the new cylinder, print again, and everything just keeps going on. So you
Sure.
have all the data, everything standardized.
Right.
Because see, the most critical thing is the color,
Yes.
right? And for doing your ECG, you need a register tolerance very low, because
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
need all the dots to fall in a particular place to achieve that color,
Correct. Correct.
right? And in Gravure, we have achieved that, right? Because earlier a Gravure machine was sold with plus or minus 100 micron register, right? Today we are talking of less than 50,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So there is some technology we have developed and
Yeah.
demonstrated, and we have sold this. It's not, again, I'm telling you,
Yeah.
it's not on the drawing board.
Right.
It's only a matter of time that it catches up, and
Yeah.
then it could be a technology that is back in action when it comes to small runs against CI Flexo.
Sure. Sure.
Yeah.
And can this be sort of applicable for, say, water-based inks and things like that, or it's
Yeah.
still a long way to go there?
I mean, it's all about the ink evolution,
Sure.
because water-based itself is in a little evolutionary
Correct.
phase. Yeah?
Correct.
We see a huge drive for water-based in China, right? And it all comes again because of regulation. We see a huge drive in India. It's the beginning, but it's quite fast, it's quite rapid, but it's not regulation, it is cost. See, the entrepreneur is pretty smart, right? I mean, how to cut down cost is he started going water based, especially in those jobs where the ink consumption is not high and the inks are developed well. So maybe he runs an 8 color job with 4 or 5 or 6 colors with water based and 1 or 2 colors with solvent based. For us, we are fortunate because our machines, right from the 5002s to the 6003s, are all designed for water based. In terms of the inking, in terms of the drying technology, where we blow from both sides, because water based is excellent when you blow from both sides, and that comes from our coating technology, right? And in terms of the metallurgy, because now imagine you have steam and solvent together in the same environment, right? It's quite corrosive, right? So the metallurgy needs to be very critical in order to sustain that. So we have supplied machines. We know customers who are running water based on our machines
In India as
in
well?
India.
Oh,
In
wow.
India, yeah,
Okay. Okay. I'll take the
right,
names from you.
yeah, yeah,
Right.
and
Interesting.
it's
Yeah.
it's slowly catching up,
Right.
right?
Right. So
So,
interesting. You have some water-based
oh yes,
gravure sample as
sorry,
well, right?
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thanks again,
Yeah.
Ramu.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
No. No.
So this is the job printed, right? And you can see, they're pretty bright in color,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? Yeah.
This is
So
very remarkable.
yeah,
Wow. Mm. Who would imagine, no?
yeah. So this is done in China,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
But
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, the same technology is available
Sure.
in India,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? It's
Yeah.
And this is done with Sigwork inks,
Right.
and if I
Yeah.
remember correctly, it was done with 90% water
Okay.
and 10% solvent,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm. And
So
again, just this might be a really stupid question, but for people in India who are traditionally working with certain systems, certain processes, certain kind of control systems and all that, what is the learning curve they have if they're actually going to start shifting to water based on their existing presses or new investments? Is
uh,
there like a couple of quick tricks, hacks that you can share?
no, I mean, the learning curve is the chemistry of inks.
Of
Today,
course, yeah,
the knowledge is already low, right?
right,
In terms of, you won't find people in the market
yeah,
who will say, okay, I'll come and do everything for you.
correct, correct,
There are some companies who have gone through a long learning curve
right,
to master certain things. They know where the pros and cons are,
right,
right? Because it's not, see, the whole cycle
yeah,
is not the water based ink.
yeah.
The addition of the water based ink to the substrate, whether it's
Mm.
polyester, BOPP,
Yeah,
are different,
that's
right?
crucial. Yeah,
Then the lamination, it should means it should match a
yeah,
compatibility with the adhesive,
sure,
right?
sure.
This, because that could be solvent based,
Yes,
right? So the whole thing is not just a small learning cycle,
correct,
right?
correct.
And as people learn, and then
Mm.
people tend to move,
Yes,
right?
yeah,
And when they
yeah,
move, this cycle will go on.
right,
From our side, all our equipments are capable of managing water based.
sure.
Yes, there could be a compromise on speed because water based means more drying
Yep,
capacity,
yep, yep,
right?
yep.
But then if you decide there are 4 process colors, right? Just
Mm.
to give you an example, if you see snack food and all where there is no solid white, right?
Sure.
You could have ink GSM of around 0.3, 0.4 GSM of ink,
Okay.
right? If you have a solid white patch and a fully ink covered job, you could be 1.1, 1.2 GSM.
Mm.
So that will be an impact when it comes
Sure.
to drying on water
Understood.
based,
Understood.
right?
Impressive.
Yeah.
Nilesh, I'm going to come back to Flexo. Sorry, this was very, very insightful. But coming back to Flexo, I think there are a couple of things. It's always generally seen as surface print technology. Just curious to know. One is, how good does it score on reverse printing? Number
Yeah.
one, and number two, do you have any samples that sort of, illustrate that? And the other thing is all these other concerns with Flexo that there's the dot gain issue. You already touched upon the fact that too many variables in the process.
Right.
And third, of course, in India, there seems to be a challenge in just terms of having a universe of very good Flexo operators.
Right.
You have
Yeah.
to train from ground up, and or you catch hold of someone, mentor, etc. So,
Right.
first question, really, reverse printing doable on Flexo, and if yes, how good?
I'm what you said first was correct, that Flexo was earlier
Right.
known for printing on surface only,
Right.
right?
Right.
And it was mainly for the poly jobs, and I'm talking
Yeah.
India specific,
Right.
right?
Right.
So we saw Flexo gaining traction, for example, in the milk segment,
Yep.
which
Yep.
is surface printing.
Yeah.
We saw it in oil.
Yeah.
These materials also are polyethylene, so
Correct.
they're not very easy to run on Gravure. They were run
Mm.
on Gravure,
Mm.
but at a lower
Mm.
speed. And as
Mm.
the job started getting a little more complicated,
Mm.
with more register requirements and all,
Yep.
from
Yep.
3 color to 5 color and 6 colors and all,
Yep. Yep.
they started moving towards Flexo. At
Mm.
one point of time, it was just mentioned 5 color job.
Yeah.
You didn't the dairies did not bother where it came from. But now when I see
Mm.
some of the dairy tenders, I see
Mm.
very specifically mentioned that it should be Flexo printed, CI
Mm.
Flexo printed,
I
right?
see.
Yeah.
So this would be what people like Nandi and Amul and
Yes, yes,
all
yes.
these big
Yeah, yeah,
daddies
yeah.
who are the
All
Milky Mist. Yeah.
Karnataka Milk
Yeah.
Federation and
Yeah. Yeah.
Nandini, yeah.
Nandini. Yeah.
Right. You have Milma,
Milma.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Understood.
So
Yeah.
you have
Okay.
oven,
Oven.
right?
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
other segment that we see is hygiene,
Diapers. Yeah. Mm.
hygiene application,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
whether it's diapers, sanitary napkins,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? These are polyethylene,
Mm.
and they are surface printed,
Yeah.
and this also comes globally down to India,
Mm.
right? We have seen a few companies do it also on Gravure, but
Sure.
more or less it's majority done on Flexo
Mm.
today,
Mm.
right? This is another application of hygiene. This
Mm.
is, believe it or not, Ramu, if you want to feel it,
Yeah.
it's just something like 11 or 12 micron film, right? Polyethylene.
Yeah.
Now running this kind of film, right? And if you, I don't know, if you just feel the difference, I mean, this is a little more stronger, the same material, polyethylene. But if you feel
Oh,
this
yeah.
and feel that,
Yeah.
right, you'll realize
Mm.
that film is not easy to run.
This is amazing, no?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this
How
is
does
something
like this, 10 to 12 microns,
this
score on
yeah,
like
11 to
things?
12.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's
Wow.
getting thinner and thinner. It's
Yeah.
going, because I
Yeah.
know of customers who are demanding
To print on
9
air.
9 to 10 micron.
Okay.
Yeah,
Right.
right, because it's breathable, right? So
Right. Of course.
yeah,
Yeah.
so they
Yeah.
want it thinner and thinner,
Right.
right?
And this is interesting because it's, I don't think, an India brand, no? It's somewhere in Colombia or something. It's going to one of the Latin, no, the
Yeah.
other one, the Latin American countries.
This
So,
one,
yeah.
huh? Yeah, this
Yeah.
no, but we have Indian customers who are already doing
Also
it, and we
doing
have
this.
machines
Yeah.
to do
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
also.
I think PNG does a lot, no, in
Uh,
this space. Yeah.
yeah, they do it. They get it outsourced
Sure.
from
Sure.
some of the converters in
Right.
India,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
And there are few converters who do this business,
Correct. Correct.
because some of them have their own film lines,
Correct.
and then
Correct.
they convert their film into
Yep.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sure. Also, just curious to understand, because obviously Gravure, longer legacy,
yeah,
all that, and again, from more to reassure a lot of people who are probably contemplating entering this space. What are the interesting things that are, say, happening in ink metering, screening, plate technology, flexography overall? Because obviously a lot of people still are stuck in 200 when
yeah,
things were very, very different.
yeah.
Now you can just see the process has evolved like considerably. So again, what are the things that are happening? Ink management, also the kind of ink that is being manufactured by some of the global giants. I think that has, again, there's been a shift, and
Big,
with that shift also the learning that has got transferred. So
agreed.
what are the few things you think which have benefited Flexo in this journey?
So, Ramu, when I entered this market in India
Sure.
in 1999,
Mm.
I was fortunate that there were 2 CI Flexos that time being installed, right, from a
Yeah.
brand which Bobst owned called
Right.
Skiavi,
Right, of course,
right?
yeah.
And I was part of that project. So mainly backend, because I was very fresh,
Right.
right? So I was just
Sorry, this was which year you said?
in 1999.
99. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So 27 years
Yeah,
ago.
so
Wow.
they just come in 98, 99 in
Right,
that
right,
time.
right,
These
right.
2 projects that had come in Flexo.
Correct, correct.
So I learned a lot from them, right? And if you see where Flexo has evolved from then to now,
Sure.
like what you rightly said, I mean, the pre-press
Yeah.
has gone leaps and bounds. If
Yeah.
I have to just put it in very layman terms, I mean, from HD to full HD
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
UHD. I mean, very
Absolutely.
lay terms,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
you can imagine that's
It's
the
like a
resolution moving up.
smartphone evolution.
Yeah,
No? It's
so it's-
almost similar to that.
yeah.
True, true.
So
Yeah.
it's the resolutions have moved up.
Yeah.
The ink qualities have gone
Yeah.
up
Yeah.
drastically, right? The analog scrolls. I mean,
Yeah.
people today using, when in those days people are using 500 line screen LPIs and all. Today
Yeah.
people are using 1200 and 1400 LPIs,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? So things have changed a lot,
Drastically.
right? And plus the equipment to hold, I told you, right? 1
Yeah.
micron dot level registered less than 25 micron at times, right? So to achieve all this is what has taken Flexo to the reverse printing segment, right?
Yeah.
So this
Yeah.
is,
Yeah.
you were asking about reverse printing.
Correct.
This
This
is reverse
a good
printing,
example.
right? And it's if you show somebody these kind of jobs, and they will not know
The
whether it's
difference. Yeah,
printed
yeah.
on Flexo or Gravure.
That's
So
true.
Flexo, yes, has evolved a lot,
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
from where I've seen it to what it is today,
Right.
right? And yes, in India, it is moving a lot into reverse printing. We see Tata Salt today;
Yeah. Mm.
it's all moved. We see a lot of detergent.
Yeah.
We see even the chips we eat.
Yeah.
Some of the chip brands have moved to
Mm.
Flexo in reverse
Right.
printing. We see snack food now.
Mm.
Very surprising because snack food is again a very competitive market.
Sure.
So we see some of the snack brands
Mm.
have moved from Gravure to Flexo,
Sure.
right?
Understood. Yeah.
So
That's the. Also, again, just curious to know what, because again, this things comes up in conversations that that Flexo good for like comparatively short runs, and while being reasonably okay for long runs, for shrink sleeves, for labels. So again,
yeah,
your thought process, because that's also a vertical, I think, which you oversee, labels and yeah.
yeah,
So what is happening on that? And when you make that kind of an investment, is it just one machine doing everything, like
true.
a good cricket all-rounder, or you need super specialized machines and investments for that? How does the actual factory operation work? Yeah.
I agree. See, it comes back to whether the job is a standard job or
Right.
it goes into an ECG.
Yeah.
Because if it's an ECG today,
Yeah.
Gravure can do the same short runs that Flexo can do,
Right.
right? With the ECG.
Correct.
But if it's standard jobs,
Hmm.
then Flexo does have an advantage in short runs,
Sure. Okay.
right? We talk about changeover times. I was
Hmm.
just discussing with the customer a few days ago.
Yeah.
He told me that normally on our Gravure, he takes around 45 minutes, 45 minutes to change over.
Hmm.
And on our Flexo machine, he could take anywhere around 25 to 30 minutes,
Okay.
right? Now think, if you're doing short runs, means you
Hmm.
have so many job changeovers a
Correct.
day,
Correct.
right?
Correct.
And
Correct.
if you translate this numbers, 25,
Hmm.
30, these are
Hmm.
non-productive
Correct.
time.
Correct.
So
Correct.
actually the customer is not earning money
Correct.
by his production,
Yes.
right? So that's how Flexo is good.
Hmm.
That's something on the plates,
Yeah.
right?
Cost
The
of
plate
plates. Yeah.
cost,
Yeah.
like you have 1 rupee 40 paisa per square centimeter
Hmm.
versus 2 rupees 10 paisa per square centimeter,
Sure.
right?
Hmm.
Flexo has these advantages,
Hmm.
right? You have the length of the web. If you
Hmm.
see the footprint of this machine behind, it's
Hmm.
hardly about close to
Yeah.
less than
Yeah.
14 meters,
Amazing,
right? And you have
huh?
a Gravure for the 8 colors would be
Yeah.
around close to
Yeah.
21
Yeah.
meters,
Yeah.
right? So
Hmm.
the length of the web also matters. And just
Yep.
to give you a fact, not a fun fact, but a
Hmm.
real fact,
Hmm.
that the wastage in any web machine,
Hmm.
right, is directly proportional to
Hmm.
the length of the web in the machine.
Interesting.
So the longer the machine, the longer the length of the web in the machine,
You
the
lose
more the
more.
wastage
Yeah.
you incur.
Yeah. So
Right?
this is what, 8 colors, approximately 50 meters.
Less than 50.
Yeah. Vision
Yeah.
CI. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Right. Makes sense. So
Yeah.
you touched on cost of plates, and you also touched on changeover time. What
Right.
about like setup time? Number one, and number two would be. Because this is a question we get asked a lot, is from artwork to final,
Yeah.
dispatch, yeah,
Correct.
or final produce dispatches, yeah,
And that from artwork to final produce, see, because in Flexo,
yeah,
you can turn around a job in a day.
right,
If you go to a customer and I say I want the job tomorrow,
sure,
if you have the artwork with you,
yeah,
it's done.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
it's not it's not something that cannot be done,
sure,
right? It's very normal,
yeah,
because your plate will get done in a few hours or maybe the
correct,
same day, and the next day you're in production and
right,
you're out,
right,
right? In Gravure, it takes time because the cylinders
yeah,
are done through professionals.
yeah,
Even if you have your in-house cylinder, it's going to be difficult for
mm,
you to justify to put your
mm,
cylinders and get it
yeah,
out the same day,
yeah, yeah,
right? But Flexo, the cycle is faster
mm,
to
mm,
to turn around a job
right,
from an artwork to an actual print.
understood,
Right? You don't
understood,
have to wait at all.
yeah, yeah.
So it's very
So,
close to digital.
I
As
mean,
such.
whatever you're saying sort of is like just begs the question, then why has India not created a bigger market for Flexo? It just seems like a no-brainer. It just seems a logical thing to do.
Yeah.
So what is holding it back? Is it primarily the legacy habits and cost, or is it there's something more that's we
Yeah.
are missing?
I mean, the print quality,
Right.
right,
Hmm.
is in India is quite critical,
Right.
right? And when you
Right.
have print quality that is critical,
Yeah.
and you're running jobs, see, Gravure is a very old technology,
Yeah. Of course.
absolutely standardized. You have
Right.
your ink, you
Yeah.
have your doctor blade, you have the cylinder,
Right.
all proofed. Just put it all in place,
Yeah.
run, and you
Yeah.
can run for days if you want,
Correct. Correct.
without doing much, right?
True.
So it's very standard.
Yeah.
Getting
Yeah.
operators is very easy.
Hmm.
In case of Flexo, it's not that easy,
Yeah, I mean,
right?
there was a time when Gravure used to be there at the Times of India, where magazines like Illustrated Weekly,
Exactly.
etc. We used to print it on that.
On
Yeah,
Gravure,
yeah, on
correct.
Gravure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and you see the quality of those,
quality.
right?
Yes,
They were
yes,
they
yes.
were amazing in
Absolutely
those days also.
astonishing. Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, we talked of halftones much later, and there, broadly they were hitting things even in those days with
true.
photographs and all that. Yeah, sorry, please
Yeah.
carry on. Yeah.
So on that note, I think Gravure is still there to
Yep.
it's still
Yep.
going to be there.
Sure.
I mentioned to you earlier also that the price of an operator
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
almost, if not double, it could be triple if not double.
Right.
If you want a good Flexo operator,
Hmm.
it could cost you close to
Hmm.
100,000 Indian rupees,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? And if you
Hmm.
want a Gravure, you'd be around 35,000
Yep.
odd Indian
Yep.
rupees. Now, one of the reasons we decided also to have this CI press of year
Yep.
is to create like a training center for operators.
Hmm.
And believe
Hmm.
it or not, we are already developing a lot of interest where some of the customers have already told us that
Hmm.
can we send,
Hmm.
but we first need to put everything in place,
Correct.
right?
Correct.
Put a curriculum in place,
Sure.
right? And then get these
Yeah.
operators.
Yeah.
This we
Yeah.
are already doing it on sheet fed,
Correct.
right?
Yeah.
So we intend to do something similar
Yep. Yep.
with
How
Flexo.
long would something like this take to take someone with sort of reasonable amount of competence
Yeah.
and make him into a highly
So
evolved person who can run this machine single-handedly? Yeah.
we would require at least, we are thinking of at least 3 months,
Okay.
right? Yeah,
Substantial.
and then there could be advanced courses, where the guy is already running
Ah, right.
running guy,
Then you can
right?
short,
Yeah, and then he will take like
fast track the
fast track,
process. Yeah.
and we
Yeah.
go from one level to another,
Right.
right?
Understood.
So there is a huge interest for this,
Sure.
right? And we have had many customers tell us this is something
No,
wonderful you
yeah,
are doing,
absolutely
right?
makes sense. Yeah. So one more reason for people to come to the competence
Yeah,
center.
and
No?
it's our CEO's vision also,
Right. Right.
right?
Right. To
To make
empower.
sure
Yeah.
that
Yeah. Yeah.
it
Yeah.
creates a
Yeah.
lot of training
Right.
opportunities.
Yeah. So probably every time you sort of sell a machine, you also say that, we give you 4 operators with it who can be, literally trained on, masters of the game,
I
so to
agree.
speak. Yeah.
Yeah.
True. There's a question that we got from, the market itself. So I'll just read this out. One is that this is typically the mid-sized players,
Mhm.
the people in the middle of the pyramid, that if who are doing work which is anywhere between 2,000 to 10,000 meters and approximately 8 to 12 job changeovers per shift. And I've come to you, I have money in my bank or in my
Yeah.
pockets. What would you advise me? What to go for? What kind of investment?
Yeah.
And what would be typically the kind of, setup I should have to? Obviously, the machine is just one part of it, but what is going to be that packaging universe I create in the factory?
Right.
So this is, I mean,
Okay.
I am a customer. You have to tell me what I need to go in for. Yeah.
All right. I mean, to be honest, Ramu, it's very difficult to tell you which technology to go for
Correct.
because
Correct.
I
Yeah.
need to evaluate a lot of other things.
Sure.
For
Yeah.
example, which application? I mean, if
Yeah.
you're going to tell me it's going to be hygiene,
Right.
right? Then it's a no-brainer. I mean,
Correct.
I just tell you, you go for
Y-
Flexo and
uh,
you're good, or
Correct.
or milk,
Yeah.
right, or
Yeah.
oil.
Yeah.
But first, we need to understand the application.
Mm.
What are the volumes,
Sure.
right? We need to know if there is any commercial benefit on that
Mm.
application,
Mm.
right? We need to know the material on which you're
Mm.
going to run, right?
Mm.
It could be
Mm.
polyethylene, it could be polyester, it could
Yeah.
be BOP.
Yeah.
We need to
Yeah.
know the run lengths,
Mm.
right? Of what run lengths we're talking.
Mm.
So, plus, I mean, see, it also needs to be the acceptance on the brand owner.
Correct. Correct. Correct.
Because if you tell a big brand owner, listen, I've got this technology which is going to be really good and plus 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 plus,
Mm.
right? But if his supply system is
Right.
all Gravure guys,
Ah.
then he
Right.
cannot entertain one
Right.
Flexo,
Correct.
right?
Correct.
Because
Yeah.
here they are talking,
Yeah.
some of the big brand owners
Yeah.
are talking to have global uniformity.
Correct.
So where is the
Mm.
question of one guy entering
True. True.
and
True.
trying to create a
Yeah.
change,
Sure.
right? So to be, I mean, to be unbiased,
Mm.
the technology needs to be selected on certain parameters,
Correct.
right, or certain criteria,
Sure.
and then it is easy to make a decision which side to go.
Correct.
Because today, if I go with the value of the
Mm.
investment,
Mm.
they are very similar to each other.
Of course. Yeah.
I mean, like to like,
Mm.
right, in terms of all the sophistication.
Mm.
Because the CI Flexo by default comes with a lot of sophistication,
Correct. Correct.
right? Because they want to reduce the variables, so
Sure.
they include everything into the machine, closed loop integrated,
Yeah.
right? So the variables are lesser and lesser.
Yeah.
In Gravure, people tend to buy the Gravure machine and keep adding the variables. I mean,
Mm.
not variables, the
Mm.
add-ons,
Correct.
right?
Correct. Yeah. The
So
additional
the
features. Yeah.
additional features,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So that's how.
So, yeah. So two things which is emerging is one is market is diverse,
Yeah.
obviously, and on multiple this thing, customer requirements, production volumes. So that is the message is clear that there's no one size fits all,
Yeah.
and that your approach is obviously to look at customer plans, business growth, etc., and all that. But are there sort of standard templates that we have 15, 20, 30 templates in India that broadly you sort of macro fit or micro fit depending on who the customer is there something like that? Because obviously
No.
you have been doing this now for 22 years with Bobst. So
Yeah. Yeah.
obviously there's a system in place because you can't be every time, starting afresh. So The reason to ask this question is that because obviously it helps us understand what the hierarchy is, you know.
Okay.
So is there some kind of a structure in all this, you know, from the top it all looks fragmented, but actually you've figured out the way that the Indian market is
No, I mean, see, the Indian market is quite complex,
complicated.
right?
Yeah,
Very
yeah,
complex.
yeah,
You could have a single owner driven
yeah,
company,
yeah,
and you could have a large corporate also
yeah,
with
yeah.
absolute international standards,
Right,
right?
right.
So to say, as you said, one size fits all
Correct.
is not
Next to
possible. Yeah.
impossible. Yeah, yeah.
And like what we do, we have ranges of machine, right?
Right.
We
Yeah,
always talk, if you see Bobst all across his products,
yeah,
we have the Nova,
yeah,
we have the Vision, we have the Expert and the
yeah,
Master.
yeah. And the
So
master.
depending on the type of customer, the volumes, the
Yeah.
application, right, the aptitude to invest, right,
Hmm.
we could suggest to him any of these technologies,
Sure,
right,
sure.
to make sure that he's profitable.
Hmm.
Many a times it's a new entrant into Flexo,
Yeah,
absolutely new entrant into Flexo.
sure.
Sometimes it makes sense that he invests small with a
Yeah,
start with the
yeah,
Nova, for
yeah.
example,
Right.
right, and then when he gets a feel and pulse of the Flexo market, he
Hmm.
then steps onto the Experts or even goes to the Master, whatever,
Sure, sure,
right? But it all depends on the other thing, Ramu, is that almost 80% of the market
sure.
are repeat orders, right?
Hmm.
Or
Of
customers who
course.
are
Yeah,
already in the printing business.
yeah, yeah.
They already have a good understanding before
Hmm.
they come to you,
Correct,
right?
correct.
So they only want to know, because there
Hmm.
is a push from their brand owners probably.
Agreed, agreed.
They see a potential to sell
Hmm.
certain material if they had that technology,
Understood.
but then they just want to understand the economics, or they
Sure.
know that somebody is doing well,
Hmm.
right? And if they are doing well,
Yep,
right?
yep.
News spreads, right? People
Correct.
move from one company to another, and
True,
if
true.
something worked well somewhere,
Right,
right,
right.
then
I can move. Yeah,
yeah,
makes sense. We'll talk about something which you spoke about probably right at the beginning of this conversation. That's sustainability. And uh, again, I'm trying to understand what it means in practice. And obviously, there's the Bobst
yeah,
overall strategy globally. But you know, obviously, in the presentation that you made, the last one that I saw, you spoke of many things. You spoke of down gauging. You spoke of renewable raw materials. You spoke of recyclability. So just curious to know what are the conversations that you are picking up, and also what is happening with things like non-biodegradable packaging, because I think you had touched upon dual EOL at that time.
yeah,
So again, just to understand how much of these conversations are macro level and how much of it is actually trickling down into Indian uh, your customers and Indian packaging solution providers, and how much of it is sort of good news for our industry in terms of especially those who criticize us that plastic is bad, plastic is evil, plastic is all those things. What are the good things that are happening which you can share with us?
yeah.
Yeah,
See, one of the changes we recently saw
yeah,
with regards to a particular product trying
yeah,
to move to polymers,
yeah,
right? I told you that
yeah, yeah,
these are
yeah.
things that drive
Correct,
new developments,
correct.
right?
Yeah,
This pushes the industry to look different.
yeah, mm,
Now, one of the issues we have is littering,
yeah.
right?
Of
If you
course.
if you litter,
Mm,
right, a small little pouch, nobody's picking it up.
correct,
If it
correct.
if So it
The
makes sense
sachets
if
and
it's
things. Yeah.
biodegradable. If it just
Mm,
in the natural environment just disintegrates. Excellent,
yeah, yeah,
right? It's not very easy, but
yeah,
it's difficult.
yeah,
But what we are looking at is to create laminates or packaging
yeah,
which are why paper, why polyethylene,
yeah,
why BOPP,
yeah.
is because by themselves,
Mm,
right, they can form a laminate
mm,
with barrier,
yeah,
right, and for the person who's going to collect it,
mm,
it's easy for him to take it back and recycle it.
yeah,
But
yeah.
if it's a mix of materials,
Mm,
right, then developing, if I give you an example, polyester melts at a separate temperature.
correct, correct.
BOPP melts at a separate temperature,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
We're talking of less than 100 and over 140,
Sure.
right?
Mm,
So when you have these kind of materials in a different way, how do you put them into
the
something that
same.
will
Yeah,
melt
yeah,
and then create granules? Yes,
yeah,
there are ways. We know of good companies who have
yeah.
managed to
Mm,
extract oil out of it,
yeah,
right? And even recycle it,
yeah,
that
yeah,
I've heard of,
yeah, yeah.
right? But if you see what they are doing in Europe and US and other places, they are trying to go more towards paper monofamily
Monomaterial. Yeah,
monomaterial
yeah, yeah,
laminates, is because they can reuse it.
yeah. Less
This
of duplex, less of triplex. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Makes sense. Yeah,
So you delayer,
yeah.
right?
You
So
deal. Yeah,
from 3 layer you come down to 2 layer.
correct,
You remove the aluminum foil if
correct.
possible,
Yeah.
right? You reduce cost in this way, and
Mm,
then there's a trade-off,
correct,
right?
correct,
So
correct.
this way the price will increase because you're going to do an
Of
additional
course.
coating, you're
Yeah.
going to do some
Yeah.
metallizing and all that,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
And there you're removing a particular film from it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and
Yeah.
your, yeah, the dual end of life cycle is
Right.
something that is
Sure.
becoming very critical also.
Understood.
Yeah.
Understood. Again, sorry. You made a presentation recently at RESPAC, and I was sort of fortunate and honored to be there.
Yeah.
You spoke of two things, that with the push towards monomaterial, what you just alluded to, but it makes metallization harder. So I'm just curious to know. I mean, it's all very fine to say without aluminium foil, but what are you doing as Bobs to ensure that the barrier performance, or how you approaching this conundrum of the barrier performance? Yeah.
So what it when you have something new that's coming in,
Yeah.
again you have to go from one end of the cycle, which is the
Sure.
resin,
Right.
right? From it being processed on a film line,
Yeah.
right, to being metallized, to
Sure.
being coated, to
Yeah.
being printed, laminated, slit, and everything, or
Yeah.
even pouched.
Yeah.
That is also very critical.
Yeah.
Because pouching on different materials work differently, right? For the brand owner, the speed at which the FFS works is also very critical, right? So the machinability also needs to be
Just
studied.
curious to know, stupid question, how fast are FFS machines compared to these beasts?
They are really, I mean,
3:1 or ratio wise?
I honestly,
Yeah. Fair
yeah.
enough. No, just always
Yeah,
wondered
but I
that.
know they want to go faster and
Faster,
faster and faster,
yeah.
and from
Because
3
sometimes
lane, 6
I
lane,
mean,
9
whatever
lane, 12
little,
lane,
yeah.
right?
The lanes can make a
Yeah.
difference. True.
So they want to go wider
Good
and
point. Yeah.
this,
Sorry, please
yeah.
carry on. Yeah. Barrier.
Yeah.
Back to barrier performance.
So we are talking of us. We need to work with a lot of partners,
Mm.
right? So and when we work with partners, what we do is we
Yeah.
work with optimization of the resin, right? We work with making the working with our partners on the extrusion front,
Yep.
right? How best they can get the extrusion with inline coating.
Yep.
They have inline coating on the extrusion also at
Yeah.
times,
Yeah.
right? Getting the film as flat as possible so that take for example polyester.
Yep.
It's a very flat film,
Yep.
very stable film.
Mm.
Running on a metallizer or a printing machine is like a piece of cake, right? But then you take BOPP or polyethylene. They are little wavy. Polyethylene is very wavy. BOPP is slightly wavy, right? So you need to get this film as flat as possible in order to get the best out of metallizing. We have a technology called alu bond,
Yeah.
right? And alu bond has been a revolution in the market. See,
Yeah.
the alu bond is also a partnership that came up with the brand owner, with
Correct.
some machine
They
suppliers.
prodded you. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So they pushed, we pushed, we all
Correct.
got together,
Right.
made a team, and
Brainstorm.
Alubon came, and
Yeah.
then we had our a genius in our organization,
Right.
who thought of this concept and came
Yeah.
up with it,
Yeah.
right? So it's just basically partially oxidizing aluminium in order to increase the bond strength by more than 10 times,
Right.
right? Because you would have gone sometimes for a bath with a shampoo sachet, and while
Correct. And
pulling it, you
never
realize
able to.
that
Yeah.
the film is tearing apart, but that is
yeah.
not
Yeah.
coming, right?
Correct.
It doesn't hold.
Yeah.
Why? Because the bond strength is low, right?
Yeah.
So this challenge was averted by this technology, Alubond.
Sure.
It goes higher in terms of um, what do you call it, barrier, right, compared to conventional metallizing,
Sure.
right? And the last thing it does is it gives you a higher dyne level.
Yeah.
Now, if you are taking CPP and you're going to sell it in a country like Africa, and if it takes a long time,
Yeah.
right, normally these films start losing their dyne level in like a month, 2 months, 3 months, and they are already down.
So Nilesh, I mean, you've been speaking about this sort of push to monomaterial structures and obviously recyclability, etc. But obviously, and you also spoken about this barrier performance, and but it makes metallization harder. So I just want to know that what is Bob's strategy, and how is Bob's approaching barrier performance without that aluminium foil?
Okay.
The structure of it, and what is the technology and science behind it?
Yeah. On both sides, Ramu, one is removing the aluminum foil,
Right.
and one is removing delayering. Like,
Yeah.
I'll give you an example. Medpet poly is a very
Right.
common material used even in India to
Correct.
get less than one barrier.
Yeah.
One, not 0.1. One. Aluminum foil is 4.1.
Yeah.
So when you want to delayer, that means you want to bring it from 3 to 2,
Yeah.
and you want to bring it in the mono family.
Yes.
You need to add metallizing and coating.
Correct.
Right? And to add metallizing and coating, right, we started working with a lot of, for example, brand owners.
Yeah.
This did not evolve now.
Okay.
Right? This is a study of more than 8-10 years ago.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Where we came with Alubond at that time,
Yes.
and then
Yeah.
it suddenly Alubond became a generic name.
Correct.
In the market.
In the market, yeah.
Yeah. And so the idea is that when you want a film with the same family, you need to take care of all um, the machinability, the barrier, the like the puncture resistance and
Right.
everything,
Of
right?
course.
Whatever
Yeah.
the brand owner needs, and
Right.
you have to work with them to understand what their requirement
Right.
and accordingly make that packaging to
Correct.
suit it, right? So it and barrier will come because polyethylene by itself is the word pathetic in barrier, literally, right?
Really?
Yeah, bad, very bad in barrier. There's
Okay.
literally no barrier in polyethylene,
Okay.
right? I'm talking plain
Yeah.
polyethylene. Then
Yeah.
there is
Understood. Yeah. Of
polyethylene with
course.
EVOH and
Of course.
nylon
Of
and
course.
all,
Of course. Of
right?
course.
Then you're
Yeah.
adding something to it,
Correct. Correct.
right? So in order to add barrier, you need to put some level of coating,
Yeah.
some level of metallizing,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? We have adhesives also now. So if you're
Mm.
laminating, there
Yes.
are some of our partners have got some wonderful adhesives which act as a coating come metallizing. Sorry,
Sure.
coating come adhesive lamination,
Mm. Right.
which gives it a barrier,
Right.
right? So that's how they have achieved
Mm.
on monomaterial and
Mm.
even on paper.
Yeah.
If I mean maybe two K shows ago,
Right.
right? And we've done it. Huh? We've done it with some big group,
Yeah.
right? Where we have developed paper,
Okay.
where you have a paper, you have just a coating on the paper,
Mm.
and post coating you have metallizing,
Sure.
which is high OD metallizing,
Mm.
right?
Mm.
And this paper, okay, it's not just standard paper that you pick up.
Mm.
It was a paper with a high density,
Sure.
right? You had barrier which was equal to PET, MET, PET, poly,
Nice.
and we like just very commonly we had a soup packet
Correct.
which we demonstrated that time.
Right.
We
Right.
had chocolate wrappers
Yeah.
and all,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? So this is
This
this
is
is
an
the
yeah.
evolution on
Yeah.
paper also,
Nice.
because
So
nobody could.
typically, who's part of these conversations? Film producers, resin guys, of course, y'all,
Yeah,
and then of course,
the brand owners.
the
Yeah,
brand owners.
yeah,
Yeah. I mean, they are of course driving this
yeah,
conversation, but the guys who actually do a group huddle and come up with the ideas,
yeah,
this would be this world, right?
yeah.
Mainly,
It's all partnership.
of course.
Because
Yeah.
I could get the idea, but
Correct.
the
Yeah.
idea is useless if I don't have you to understand my idea and
Correct.
then
And
you translate
execute
it on
it.
your
Yeah.
machine,
Correct.
right? And
Correct.
then further down,
Correct.
like even if you want to seal a
Yeah.
particular product, right?
Sure.
Now it was PET and poly,
Right.
100 and 140 degrees. So you
Yeah.
had a sealing machine with a particular temperature which would seal only the poly. The polyester doesn't get affected. But now
Nice.
we have poly, right? You need to think how to do it,
Correct.
right? So you need to work with the pouching guy also of how
Correct.
do we manage this,
Yes.
right? Because that couldn't be my forte,
Yeah, and not
right?
your specialization.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Yeah. Interesting because there was Interpack just a short while ago, and you introduced Barrier Prime Cycle over there.
Yeah.
So again, and of course, at Respect, that was an interesting presentation in which you talk of high barrier film. So again, want to understand how does it work in terms of machinability, cost, big India question,
Yeah.
and what has been the market response, especially in a India territory.
So the prime cycle, I mean, in India as of now,
Yep.
right? If we talk of prime cycle or the prime fiber,
Yep.
right,
Yep.
has still on the slow footing,
Okay.
right? A, the regulations are not driving it.
Okay.
B, it's a very price sensitive market,
Okay. Yeah.
right? So these investments are big also. If you see a traditional blown film line to an MDOP line, right? It's like in multiples. It's not like one and two. It's like couple of 3, 4, 5 times more expensive, right? So the thing is that it is a little slow. There is a huge interest. We see a little movement in certain brands and certain applications, right? But it's not all across, right? Across all segments. We see interest a lot for paper also, because we have big brand owners calling us and asking us when they read in the articles, right? So they want to know how it's happening and what, and they also try to drive their suppliers that, see, this is something Bobst has developed, why don't you go and talk to them, right? And then they would also try and understand from us, and then we don't know where it just takes a backseat, right? So we are still trying to follow through that,
Hmm.
right? But we work very closely with all the suppliers in the
Hmm.
chain,
Yeah.
right?
But what is the most challenging thing in this? I mean, in particularly on old assets. So, for example, there was this point you were making about how to increase the mechanical properties via extrusion orientation and resin formula optimization
Yeah,
because it provides a sort of larger window for sealing.
sealing.
So again, what's the sort of logic behind
No,
this?
we provide a larger
Right.
sealing area
Right.
so that it compensates for the sealing that you would have otherwise got,
Understood.
right?
Hmm.
Because you want to run faster,
Yep.
right? You
Yep.
need in that case you need to have a larger sealing.
Right.
So that's what we probably meant
Correct,
by
correct.
saying that you need a larger window for
Right,
sealing.
right.
Right.
So again, Abhay was at my colleague Abhay Avadhani was at Interpack, and he was having this cost conversation because he sort of thinks like an Indian. So and
Yeah.
that person who was there said two things, that obviously there's layer reduction,
Mhm.
that obviously or means there's going to be cost saving, and the other
Yes.
thing was consumable optimization. That
Right.
obviously the way the technology functions. So would that be an adequately good commercially viable response for a territory like ours, or it's still more complicated? You feel?
No, actually, if both the brand owner, the converter,
Right,
right, work closely with us and try to understand,
right,
right, and they are willing to make that shift,
correct.
right, then if you remove aluminum, it's not cheap.
Yep,
Aluminum is
yep.
expensive.
True.
So whatever value we add, otherwise to get the same quality of aluminum,
Correct.
right, in terms of barrier,
Sure.
right, will get offset, right?
Mm.
Maybe it's cheaper also,
Sure.
right?
Sure.
The same thing goes with the 3-layer film,
Yep.
right? To delayer it to 2 layers of
Yep.
the same family,
Yep.
right? So if you remove one layer,
Yeah.
right, you're not only removing the layer, you're removing the process also.
Correct.
But
Correct.
yes, you may add a process in terms of coating or something like that.
Sure.
So that could also make a difference in the cost,
Understood.
right?
Understood.
So there is a trade-off. And
Sure.
then if you see today, the government is still not putting something like EPR, uh, um, where you have to pay something,
Correct.
right, to even develop the packaging. For all
Understood.
you know, tomorrow the government just says, listen, for every packaging,
Mm.
there's going to be a cost
Yeah.
for EPR, and
Yeah.
if that comes,
Correct.
then
Thing will
then
be.
it'll change,
Yeah.
right?
Understood. You've been talking of paper-based approach.
Yeah.
Just want to know again from a barrier fiber cycle paper-based approach, how closely does it get to match aluminum foil's barrier performance? And do you see this? I mean, you mentioned you alluded to EPR, but do you see this catching on? I mean, of course, EPR people are saying it's a matter of time now.
Yeah, it
But
is.
do you see that sort of catching on? Like, if you're having this conversation, say 5 years from now,
Yeah.
do you see this the barrier fiber cycle sort of scenario playing out in India?
Eh, as I said, if the regulation comes in,
Correct.
for sure.
Right.
But if I talk of paper replacing aluminum foil,
Right.
is a little
Tricky.
yeah, a little tricky. I
Yeah.
mean, yes, we can reach close to point one,
Okay.
but point one exactly not,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but there are so many applications, Ramu, which are
Mm.
in the less than one barrier.
Sure.
So many applications,
Such
right?
as.
Like if we take coffee, now you would want metal,
Ah.
you would want the metal in there,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
But there could be an application where the moisture and like chips, for example,
Yep.
right? All
Yep.
chip packaging
Yep.
is less than one,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So similarly, the snack food like chuda and all that, right?
Hmm.
That's
Hmm.
also less than one,
Sure.
right?
Sure.
So that is an application where things can go through,
Hmm.
right? Okay, there has to. I'm just talking in general,
Sure.
right? But there has to be a lot of research, development, and all
Correct. Correct. Correct.
coordinated with the brand owner and the converter
Yeah.
together
Yeah.
to arrive at something,
True. True.
right?
And it'll have to translate, no,
Yeah.
into people's
And
factory.
as
Yeah.
I mentioned today, in our competence centers
Hmm.
in across the world,
Sure.
we see paper being one of the most tried and studied in terms of coating, metallizing, because that's what we do,
Correct.
right? So we
Correct.
have a lot of the paper mills and all the brand owners
Right.
who come to us and block our setup
Yep.
for
Yep.
not a
Yep.
day but 15
Yeah.
days
Yeah.
doing the test.
Correct. Understood. So what you're saying basically is the conversations are happening. Some people are adopting it kind of quickly. What
Yeah.
again we have picked up based on our limited research is this thing about one barrier fiber cycle. That high barrier solution you need to exceed the barrier performance of high barrier metallized PET. So that is below 1 cc, below 1 gram. Is that
Metallized
how?
PET is less
Yeah.
than one.
Okay. And then in terms of what happens with say ultra high barrier aluminum foil and
Yeah.
uh, how does this sort of work again in terms of execution? I mean, I'm trying
Yeah,
to
yeah.
understand how it gets translated into action.
Yeah. So
Yep.
we have already come out with a poly laminate,
Okay.
right? With with point one.
Okay.
And this is not now. I think it's probably around more than 5 years, 6 years ago, or something like that.
Okay.
Where we have polyethylene, where we have a coating, right? No, it was a metallizing,
Okay.
right? And then a coating
Okay.
on it, and a means a high OD metallizing,
Sure.
and then a coating, and then laminated with an adhesive, which was also a barrier adhesive, right?
Nice.
And we achieved it. That was also what I did showed at Respect,
Correct.
right?
Yeah.
So that sample which I showed at Respect, which was a
Right.
coffee pouch,
Ah, yes.
right?
Yes.
So it was a
Now
substitute for coffee pouch without aluminum.
nice. Nice.
Right.
Hmm. And
So
moisture, it takes
less than
yeah,
0.1.
yeah.
Both MVTR, OTR less than 0.1.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice. So Nilesh, we've been talking of all the the big projects and the big daddies of, but I'm going to focus on something more small and like micro in that sense, but trolleys.
Yeah.
So there's obviously a lot of conversation about how these machines are and the efficiencies
Yeah.
there. Just curious to know things like a Flexo trolley in a laminator.
Yeah.
How different is it from a Gravure uh, trolley, and what are the things we need to be looking out in terms of adhesives, solvents, content, speeds, optics, etc. Yeah,
Okay. See, if you're referring to lamination,
that's it.
basically. So in lamination, there are the most common when it's used for solvent based
Okay,
is a gravure cylinder,
correct.
right? So the gravure cylinder picks up the adhesive
Okay,
and transfers it to the film,
okay.
right? What we in Bobst are trying to promote
Hmm.
on our compact machine, which
Right.
is called the Nova Lam
Nova.
D800,
Yeah.
right? We are trying to promote the Flexo trolley. Now, in a Flexo trolley, what we use is a analog roller,
Yep.
similar to a Flexo printing machine,
Sure.
right? We pick up the adhesive,
Yep.
transfer it to a rubber roller,
Hmm.
which transfers it to the film. Now,
Hmm.
if you want to know the advantages, it's nothing to do with the machine. It's absolutely to do with the process of Flexo.
Okay.
In Flexo, you tend to use almost 50 to 55% solid contents,
Correct.
right? So that's the solid. The rest of the dilution
Correct.
with solvent,
Hmm.
right? In Gravure, you're using 30 to 33% of solids.
Hmm.
So the rest of it is solvent. That's 1 is to 2.
Correct.
1 is to 1, 1 is to 2,
Nice.
right? So you're saving almost 50% of solvent,
Sure.
right? You're saving 20% adhesive,
Hmm.
right? And this is absolutely a process guarantee.
Hmm.
It's nothing to
Hmm.
do with, again,
Yep. Yep. Yep.
something to do with the machine.
Hmm.
It's a process benefit,
Hmm.
right? The third thing you do is when you put less solvent, what happens?
Hmm.
Your dryer has to dry lesser solvent,
Yep.
so you can run faster. You have lesser solvent retention, right?
Hmm.
And because Flexo is flat in coating, right?
Yep.
The cells are round ledges.
Yep.
In
Yep.
Gravure, you have, because of the etching of the
Correct.
diamond etching,
Correct. Correct.
you have these kind of hills
Yeah.
and
Curves.
valleys,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
right? So ideally, when hills and valleys, and when you press it down together,
Hmm.
the optics, what you get in a flat coat
Yes.
versus a hills and valley coat, is much better on Flexo than on
Hmm.
Gravure. So
Nice.
if you are coming to the open house, you would
Hmm.
see a proof point from us,
Okay.
right? Which would give the example
Hmm.
of two materials, right? Giving most probably the solvent retention, the amount of adhesive saving, the solvent saving,
Yep.
right? For the same job done in two different applications, right?
Understood.
This technology has caught up very widely in Europe, in Southeast Asia, in
Hmm.
China,
Sure.
right? And we have started promoting it. We have already had around 3 or 4 customers who have adopted this,
Okay.
right?
Nice. Hmm.
I remember selling it to one customer
Okay.
who bought it with the Gravure trolley and
Okay.
ended up only running the Flexo because he was a little concerned,
Right.
saying that, what if the market doesn't accept the technology?
Hmm. Of course. Yeah.
But
Makes
once
sense.
you realize the economics of it,
Correct.
and
Correct.
you
Correct.
realize the
Yeah.
value of it,
Right.
right? It's
Right.
not only the economics, and you're not compromising anywhere,
Correct. Correct.
right?
Correct.
The biggest benefit is that, when you have a cylinder that coats 3.5 GSM,
Hmm.
right? You quote 3.5 GSM.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
suppose you need 3.2, you'll
Hmm.
have to make an all new cylinder to
Yep.
quote that
Yep.
3.2.
Understood.
Whereas on Flexo, with the analog roll, you can quote from 2.5
Hmm.
up to say 4.5
Hmm.
GSM
Hmm. Hmm.
without doing any changes. You
Yep.
just have to
Yep.
vary the speed of the rollers,
Right.
right? And the gap, and
Hmm.
you're quoting that much. So you
Right.
can imagine the saving,
Yep. Yep.
right?
Makes sense. Yeah.
Flexibility to the brand owner also.
Correct, correct, and more play, no, more play,
Exactly.
and yeah. So
Yeah.
and interesting, yeah. We'll talk about the vision CI. I mean, right at the beginning, you spoke about smart GPS technology, and
Yeah.
I've sort of jotted down a few things, and how you've integrated it with the CI Flexo. Curious to know what the response is, because I think the journey began, as you pointed out, a few years ago. But how does the system work? Is it sort of a true offline automatic inspection and register setting system? And one is how the journey has been, and B, what is the sort of present thing? And I mean, what are the numbers you can boast about?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, if I have to talk about technology,
right.
very, very interesting,
Sure.
there is revolutionary technology and there's evolutionary technology.
Right.
What GPS is a revolutionary technology.
Okay. Yeah.
Absolute.
Mm.
It changed the entire face of Flexo,
Okay.
right? I mean, it was like everybody who saw the technology was in awe.
Correct.
So much so that when I was promoting in India,
Mm.
everybody thought, it's only blah, blah, blah,
Yeah, like
right?
science fiction. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Mm.
real guys
So
who,
yeah. So first print, repeat.
The first when the first station comes from the first print to
Right.
the eighth print, they're all in register and impression. Why?
Wow.
Because you don't do the impression setting and register setting on the printing machine. You
Mm.
do it offline on the plate
Correct.
mounter,
Correct.
right?
Correct.
So you scan the entire plate, you know
Mm.
the entire topography, you know the left diameter of the left side, the right side. Believe me, if somebody thinks that the diameter is the same on both sides, not. It could be point 0, point 0.3, point 0.4, point 0.05 different from here and there. That means what happens? You are allowing the operator now a variable
Mm.
where he
Mm.
has to move left or right. He
Mm.
has to get that correct impression,
Alignment. Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
All that is done offline. When the
Right.
moment it goes in, it knows its position, it aligns all the sleeves in right position, and then that means the register set, right? It goes into the decks,
Mm.
right? And you are printing right?
Nice.
And that's what it is. We started this technology, I think, way back in
10.
2009,
Yeah.
10,
Yeah.
something like that. And today we have like more than 400 plus machines all across the world, right? And India has been today, believe me, Ramu, small little converters, right, have understood the value, right?
Nice.
And
Nice.
our converters, if you explain to them something and they understand it,
Right.
right, they don't mind the price,
Correct.
right? So
Correct.
although it's a premium
Mm.
for this feature,
Yeah.
because we sell it with and without,
Correct.
and we sell almost 7 machines with and
Mm.
3 machines without,
Yes.
right? So the person who understands this will say, okay, I go with it. So
Understood. Yeah, that's great.
yeah,
That's fantastic because so also the system basically does two things from what I little I've understood is it's got a short playback,
yeah,
and it's also more importantly the question that we've been talking about earlier that it reduces the pressure on the operator in terms of being the super Einstein on the machine kind
yeah.
of a thing. Would that broadly be correct in that sense?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
think of it. We are not getting operators today.
Correct, correct,
So
correct.
if you take a decent operator
Sure.
and put him onto the machine,
Yep,
it's
yep.
much easy for him to operate a machine with GPS
Right.
than without GPS,
Correct,
because you
correct.
just take away that major part of setting up
Right.
the whole job.
Sure.
Right.
One more of your favorite machines, which is the Vision K5 metallizing press.
Yeah.
Again, just curious to know because I think that you started manufacturing in India. Number one,
Yes.
so kudos
Yeah.
on that. How's that journey been? What's the market acceptance and conversations that you're picking up on that? Yeah.
So the Vision K5 machine, right? As we have the Vision and
Right.
we have the Expert and the Master and Metallizer,
Right.
right? So the Vision is come into India, and
Mm.
I think we've sold from India. We've sold and exported
Yeah.
almost 5 of them. Two of
Wow.
them have been installed in India
Of
with
course.
our customers.
Yeah.
Uh, There are, the customers, kind of customers we are looking at for this kind of machine
Mm.
is where the converter, say he
Mm.
consumes around 300, 400 tons of metallized film himself,
Sure.
right? For him to put up a machine of this sort,
Mm.
the payback is guaranteed, right? If he has that much, because
Mm.
the payback doesn't go in terms of only the saving that he makes,
Sure.
right? Because he, like how a person puts in a blown film line behind
Correct.
back end,
Correct.
right, in order to save that 10 rupees,
Correct.
right? So same way you do the metallizing to save in
Mm.
that extra
Yeah.
rupees,
Yeah.
right? It could be anywhere between 8, 10, whatever, right?
Mm.
So the saving is huge.
Mm.
And the second thing is your quality is managed by you. You can
Mm.
do your R&D, you can add extra, you can create the barrier. So the
Mm.
metallizing in house. The other thing, from converters, we are looking at traders,
Mm.
right? People who buy film from big film
Sure.
producers and sell it out.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we have few traders who have put it in, right,
Mm.
and they're doing very successfully well in that,
Nice. Nice.
right? Then we have people who are into holographic application,
Okay.
right? So they have invested in in this
Nice.
equipment.
Nice.
So they're doing holographic. So these are available right from 1650 up to 2900,
Okay.
right? So we could make metallizers here in India, in
Mm.
Pune, in our
In
factory
Pirangoot. Yeah.
adjoining,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? So, and we are very proud of it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because it's one of the first web-fed machines that we are manufacturing here
Correct.
now,
Correct. Mm.
right? So it's a beginning, and I
Yeah.
hope many more to come in this front.
This
Yeah.
has been fantastic, Nilesh. I mean, this is probably the longest I've spoken to you, rather the longest you have spoken to me. So first and foremost, thank you for doing this. And it's
Thank
not
you,
just from
Ramu.
what packaging, but I think the whole audience, and I hope many people do see it. Also, I want to know if people want to get in touch with you, can they sort of fix up an appointment and meet you during the sort of competence center open house on 9th and 10th of September? Will you have time to?
Absolutely,
Yeah,
yeah,
because I'm keen that
yeah.
brand owners rather, people representing them, designers, and also of course students,
Yeah.
they get some time to spend with you because I think there's a lot to learn. Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
So we have a good team also, right? We have people from the product line also. So the specialists will also be coming in, and we would be very happy to welcome everybody on the 9th and 10th. and the proof in eating the pudding, you'll see it for yourself.
And you'll get to meet Nilesh Pinto and probably take an autograph with him in a selfie. Yeah. Thank you. And by the
Thanks.
way, he's also one of those wonderful swimmers, which I think the industry does not know about, right?
Yeah, okay.
That's his special talent. Yeah.
Yeah.
So swimming and packaging,
Yeah.
our man. Yes.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much for doing
Thanks
this.
a lot,
Thank you.
Ramu.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah. So that was Nilesh Pinto of Bobst. He is officially Zone Business Director, Indian Subcontinent Business Unit, printing, converting, flexible packaging, labels, and also, as I said, swimming. You can catch him on the 9th and 10th of September at the Competence Center, which is a space here, plus the adjoining two factories. Do come. Thank you.